Okay, welcome. Today we are playing Demon's Souls on PlayStation 5. This is the first time I've done this, so for this first section I'm just going to voice over it, talk about it a little bit, show you some of the footage. It looks really cool. And then in the future maybe I'll do live filming while I'm playing, but obviously it's way more of a faff than you probably expect. So in this case I'm just going to film myself as we go through the souls of many demons. Okay, so I'm just on the PlayStation 5 interface. Oh, my stream's playroom music is so nice. I'm still not decided what I think of this interface. I really liked the XMB on the PlayStation 3. I hated the interface on the PlayStation 4, especially after a few years it got super laggy. And this one is reminding me a bit too much of the PS4. There's a few things that are easier, like when you press the PlayStation button, this menu at the bottom comes up, which is easier for getting to things quickly. But I don't think there's a way to manually close apps, which strikes me as one of those things that games consoles do, when they think earlier in the time, we've got loads of power, we can make the interface really complicated, and then a few years down the line they struggle with it. So manually shutting down apps to get them out of the RAM probably will be necessary in the future, and you don't have that ability at the moment. I have to manually shut down stuff on the PlayStation 4 all the time. Okay, we're starting up Demon's Souls. It's a very dramatic introduction. Blue Point are not the original creators of this game. It's made by From Software, but Blue Point have made this PS5 adaptation. I don't know what this looks like on your screen, but for how I was adjusting it was right for my TV, which is a very, very high contrast black point plasma. So the blacks are very, very, very black. Don't take that out of context. This is extremely boring. Oof, the drama. So that intro cinematic looked phenomenal. Be aware that if you're watching this on YouTube, there is going to be compression artifacts that aren't in the actual game, but in terms of detail, hopefully you can see most stuff. So as you can see at the bottom here, it says Demon's Souls 2020, because the original came out on PlayStation 3 in 2009. Okay, I will spend ages going through the settings. I'll probably skip some of this, but one of the interesting things is in display, there's a visual mode that you can switch between performance and cinematic. Now, I couldn't work out what the difference was. Apart from performance, they seem to have a more consistent frame rate. So I might put up a little video where I just compare what it looks like, because there's a point in the game where I switch between the modes and try and walk through the same area and do some attacks and see if we can see differences. But for this video, I'll just skip over any of that testing stuff. You can have a little look at the random stuff in the menus that I'm going through, but I should probably skip this. I am playing at 1080p for a few reasons. I only have a 1080p TV. The distance I sit away from the television, I wouldn't benefit from 4K in my case. And my video capture device can only support 60 frames a second at 1080, not 4K 60. You can only do 4K 30, and I want to record at 60 frames a second, so that's why this gameplay is 1080p. Okay, so this is interesting. The body type isn't male and female, it's type A and type B. And as far as I can tell, A is female and B is male. But it means that you can just pair together any combination of genders and looks that you want. So it's more of an aesthetic thing than an actual sex thing. As is often the case in RPGs, I am making a sort of drag queen character. Obviously, it doesn't look right yet. In Skyrim, I called my character Raven and tried to model her literally off Raven, the queen. And in this game, I didn't make it exactly like Raven, but I called her Raven. And I think she ends up looking really cool. But I'm going to spend way too long in this section, so I'm just going to skip most of it out. You can look through the different classes if you want. If you're interested. So because this is my first time playing, I just didn't know any of the classes. My main experience is with Bloodborne. Bloodborne is one of my absolute favourite games of all time, and like a lot of people, I think Bloodborne introduced me to the Souls series. So I played Bloodborne after it came out, actually. I think at the start of 2017, and I regret so much not playing it sooner. It was a phenomenal experience. I still got stuff to do in it, but I got deep into Bloodborne. I talk about it all the time. Then I tried to go backwards, so I started playing Dark Souls 2, which I know isn't meant to be a proper Souls game because it wasn't made by From properly. But my plan was to do Dark Souls 2 and then go back to Dark Souls and then Demon Souls. I don't know why I decided to do that. So now this is sort of throwing me out of a loop. I've had Dark Souls 3 since it came out and never played it because I was purposely trying to play Dark Souls 1 and 2 first. But anyway, so I'm going from the very beginning here. So I've only properly played Bloodborne. I've played some of Dark Souls 2. I know about the entire series, but I don't have in-depth lore knowledge yet. I want to experience it properly. So, Demon Souls. I go through these classes for ages. I end up settling on royalty mainly because I want a character that starts off at soul level 1, so I can level up and choose more of where I want my points to go. So the main differences here is each class obviously has different specialities and different starting gear. So some of them have certain weapons and abilities and spells that they start with, which can make the start of the game a lot easier with certain classes. So in the case of royalty, I am going to be starting with soul arrows and a ring that generates MP, which is like the magicka points, which makes the start of the game a lot easier than it probably is with some classes. So even though I'm soul level 1, I can one-hit a lot of enemies, and the soul arrows are essentially infinite until we get to a more dramatic encounter a little bit later. And there she is. I finally decided at that point that I wanted to choose royalty as my starting class. You can cycle through different environments in this little scene. So that's what I'm doing. It's thrilling, I know. I think at this point I was just enamoured by the amount of polygons, like it would be. Oh, I didn't realise you can choose your starting gift. I did not think this through at all. Probably just picked Firebomb, even though there are probably better ones. Yeah, raising item discovery would have been better. That would have been better. Although it's a consumable, so maybe I wouldn't have used it that much. Any consumable is not as worthwhile as anything that's permanent. I think the ring is one of the only ones that's permanent, so I'd probably choose that. Anyway, I was stupid, so Firebomb it is. Trying to work out how you save it. Not that clear of an interface. Okay, the customization begins. This is so long-winded, I'm definitely not going to make you sit through this, but I chose the female body type because I'm trying to go with a drag queen character. It's basically traditional, stereotypical male or female walking patterns. Different voices. 3 different female voices, 3 different male voices. Some great facial expressions going on. Okay, we got there eventually. Because of the long-winded nature of a mostly unedited gameplay video, I'm going to leave timestamps in the description and in a comment on the video, so if you don't want to sit through all of the boring bits, you don't have to. But I know there are some people that want to see the intricacies of the character creation system and the settings and whatnot, so I'm not going to edit everything out. It's just when it's getting a bit repetitive, I'll cut a few sections out every now and again. This is the part where you tell yourself, oh, I'll just pick a preset because it will save me so much time that I can't really be bothered, and then you end up customizing it so much that you may as well not bother spending time trying to pick a preset. With some cool hairstyles and face paint going on. Don't know how much of this was in the original Demon's Souls, but I really like it. I like this hair, mainly because I'm interested in what the hair physics is like. In modern gaming, one of the main things that sticks out still is how shit hair physics are. Like, you play Horizon Zero Dawn and it looks beautiful in almost every way, but the way Aloy's hair moves is just awful. So you get into that sort of uncanny valley where your eyes get tricked into how beautiful everything is. So then something that's a little bit off is way more obvious, and hair is always one of those. So I wanted to pick a hairstyle which flows and moves around a little bit so that I can see how it works when fighting and running around. Okay, finally we've finished picking a preset. We can customize a few things. I want to start with the face because I liked the shape of this guy's face, but the tattoo is a bit over the top. There's loads of really cool paint and tattoos that you can do in this, but I didn't want to go too crazy over the top. So my idea was to try and pick a female body type, a male face, and then put makeup on him so he's in drag. I don't know if it really worked. It didn't work amazingly, but despite being in drag, they are still a man, and in the harsh world of Boletaria, I think that he has limited access to shaving tools, so he's still got a bit of stubble going on. I think this is me just trying to look for the flowy hair. Really, the ponytail one is the only option. There's 2 that's slightly different. The hair's in the face a bit more, it looks messy, the other one. So I did end up going with the female high pony hair. I really like the dreadlock ponytail look, but going for the fucking flappy physics. So, tried to get the hair colour similar to mine for some reason. Does it look right? Because I can't bother doing too much editing, I'm just watching this in real time. I have to sit through this. I hope that I'm skipping through some of this so you don't have to watch so you don't have to watch me faff around with this whole thing. Ooh, look at some of those teeth options. I didn't even look at those. Not bad. Once I have half my teeth missing or black. Ooh, there are some funky eye options. I remember this. Some of them look proper creepy, but I didn't want my character to be too insane, but all of them look cool. I especially like the vertical cat eye slit, yes. Very Eye of Sauron. Come on, Chris, finish faffing around with the eyes. We get it. God. Watching your own gameplay is painful. This is the point where I start to get uncomfortable in my chair, and even though I'm sat in a ergonomic Herman Miller chair, I end up sat on one of my feet or something stupid, completely negating the point. Okay, decals, paint and tattoos. These look really cool. Not sure which ones I'd actually want on my character. When you come into a game, you don't really want to make your character look too stupid, unless you try and go for that. So, I think I just went with some makeup. Can't even remember now. I think at this point I was looking at that going, I'd get that in real life. If it wasn't a problem. It's definitely a problem. Dabber contouring. Nice. Okay, yes. Finish with the appearance section, finally. Trying to work out how to save this build. There we go. See, I think that's a cool, weird, gender crossing look. Probably saved the same thing twice there, who knows. Okay. No, don't go back into that. Finalize. Finalize. We've been waiting too long. Yes, okay. And
King
finally the game
Alant
begins.
the
Oh,
12th,
she's
by
talking.
channeling the power of souls, brought unprecedented prosperity to his northern kingdom of Boletaria. That is, until the colorless deep fog swept across the land. Boletaria was cut off from the outside world, and those who dared penetrate the deep fog never returned. But Valifax of the Royal Twin Fangs broke free from the fog and told the world of Boletaria's plight. That the old King Alant had roused the Old One, the great beast below the Nexus, from its eternal slumber, and that a colorless fog had swept in, unleashing terrible demons. The demons hunt down men and claim their souls. Those who lose their souls lose also their minds. The mad attack the sane, and chaos reigns. Valifax also spoke of the enticing power of the demon souls. Each time a demon claims a human soul, the demon's own soul is invigorated by the life force, and the power of a mature demon soul is beyond human imagination. The legend spread quickly. Mighty warriors lured by the possibilities braved the fissure to breach the accursed land, but none have returned.
That's definitely an animated photo.
Fangs,
You can see the noise
yet the
pattern
silent chief,
isn't moving on the background.
Saint Urbane,
I think it's concept art
Scurva the Wanderer,
with leaves falling.
The sixth Saint Astraea with her knight Garl Vinland.
It's nice to hear some of the story,
And
but
Sage Frake, the visionary.
it's a strange creative choice to not just animate it properly.
Fog slowly creeps beyond Boletaria's borders. Humankind faces a slow and steady
Oh, the
extinction.
castle looks amazing.
The deep fog will eventually swallow all lands near and far.
We get a bit more of a preview of what bits of the map look like in these scenes.
Boletaria has one final hope. A lone warrior who has braved the baneful fog.
That's me.
Ah, has the land found its savior? Or have the demons found a new slave?
Oh, it's reminded me of Rom the vacuous spider.
Brave soul.
I'm getting PTSD.
Not death.
Oh, it's nice stereo imaging going on. I didn't even hear that when I was playing.
I shall guide you to the fissure.
It's like Hellblade.
So that you may lull the old one back to slumber.
Really cool particle effects. And we begin. Okay, so the gameplay begins. If you'd watched the gameplay footage of this before release, you'll have seen some of these scenes. I think most of what they showed was from this opening section, which is essentially a tutorial, of course. So I was trying to work out the controls, as usual in games. I was probably getting frustrated at some of the default control mapping. Also, there is more input lag than normal gameplay because I was running this through a cam link. There's not a direct pass-through, so I am dealing with a lot more input lag. Not to come up with gaming excuses, but it does make parrying very, very difficult, and I was just trying to get to grips with how it felt to play in this first little section. That was a lot of faff for nothing. I do get the hang of it. To be fair, after a while I was fine timing dodges and stuff. It's just I have to react a little bit quicker to be able to get out of the way and preempt things a bit more, but that's fine. If recording gameplay, I can manage it. You'll notice the effect of ray tracing, where you can see spaces that are illuminated by indirect light sources. So where there's light coming through a shaft at the top, it's then bouncing off the surface and illuminating the area, rather than just being global lighting that's been put in by the level designer. It's really, really cool to see. Also, you'll see that the magic attacks, that I'll get to at some point, and my own glow give off their own light, which is really nice. So a lot of the times, a way to see into a dark room, if you've got enough MP, is to send like a soul arrow through the room, and you can see it light everything up, like a mage light in Skyrim. All of the fire bits on the floor are messages. At this stage, they are all tutorial messages from the game. But when you get into the main part of the game, they're left by other players, and you can leave your own. You can appraise them, say they're good or bad. So some people are dicks and will leave a message next to a hole of death saying treasure ahead or something, and then obviously people jump through it. The idea is meant to be that you see that message and then you say bad, foul, but if you've died you can't really do that. Sorry, this is nothing really that interesting. I'm just looking around to see what's around. Cool reflections. Oh, I see the fire reflecting in the shiny water there. Was really nice. I'm generally not a fan of third-person games. I'll play games all the time and just think this would be better if it was in first person. Bloodborne and this are an exception, and I think because they're just well designed and they feel, I mean, responsive is the wrong word, but they do what you think you're telling them to do, and if you die and mess up, it is generally your own fault. Whereas a lot of third-person games feel extremely clunky in a unresponsive, unpredictable way. Resident Evil 7 was amazing, mainly because it was in first person. So when I went to try and play games like Evil Within afterwards, it was awful, it just felt horrible. So I'm surprised that some of my favourite games of all time are third person, which is Nier Automata and Bloodborne. Oh, check it out. Oh, there's so much detail. I don't know what this looks like on your screen, but on my plasma, the black levels are just completely pitch, same as an OLED. And it just looks spectacular. Seeing the contrast of the bright specular highlights on dark backgrounds is just so beautiful. And that's one of the things I think we're going to see a lot of in this generation of games. I should warn you now, I spend a lot of this just stopping and looking at things. I will force you to join me in looking at prettiness as long as I have something to say about it. There are some times when I won't. Probably some of the main times that I'll skip is when I either get stuck and take a few seconds to have a drink, or when I'm just looking at a view for way too long. I'm a photographer, I can't help it. I have to look at the vistas and just appreciate the beauty. One of my pet peeves in games, whenever I'm watching other people play, is them just looking at the floor the whole time. Oh, remember that moment? That was in the, was it E3? Yeah, I think that was in the E3 Demon's Souls trailer. That little jump down, and everyone was like, oh my god, the animations are so smooth. And they are. So smooth. Now here's an area that I wish I explored a little bit more. By a little bit more I mean a lot more, because I didn't realise at this point that you can't come back here anytime soon. So if you're playing this, spend a bit more time wandering around this courtyard. Maybe there isn't anything, but I didn't even go and look around there to see if there was. After twatting these, I just went into the little pavilion. There's an archstone. I had no idea at this point what that means or what it does. Apparently it's smoky teleportation, and now I'm in effectively a dungeon. Cool eyes. You can't get back, presumably until you clear the dungeon area. And this is a mechanic that's been introduced right at the start of the game, but I've not re-encountered it yet in the amount of gameplay I've done so far, which is a few hours worth. I can't believe this whole time I wasn't just using magic. The soul arrows are ridiculously powerful using the rapier, I think is the weapon that I started with. Just feels so inefficient. I'm also not a shield person. Probably because starting with Bloodborne, I've heard a lot of people say you can play the Souls games like Bloodborne, and I sort of want to try that, although with more magic. So I don't really want to use the shield. I'd rather have magic and sword. We'll see how viable that is. Maybe in a few hours more of playing it'll become impossible, we'll see. Oh, this is in the attempt as a parry. That's why it took so long, because it just told me that I can parry by pressing L2 upon attack, and with, 0.3 seconds of something of input lag, it was a bit hard to get that. Oh, a blue-eyed knight. These are one of the harder enemies in the early game, as I was discovering at this point. Oh, the animations on the knight look incredible. You can see all of those surface reflections and the light reflecting off surfaces. The shadows that were being cast by that fire there. Oh, and the fire itself. How amazing does that firebomb effect look? And when someone on fire glows, they're giving off that light to the environment, once again casting real-time shadows and reflections. Oh, that noise I think was the parry noise. The cool, satisfying explosion sound. I do not hear that very often. I never did parrying in Bloodborne ever. Never really played like that. I was just an aggressive, rolly person rather than a parrying. Never really used the gun. Okay. Now this is the switch to two-handed mode, which I remember from playing Dark Souls 2. There's another blue-eyed knight. The colour of the reflected light on the metallic surfaces of the knight. As he gets closer to the fire, you can see all the colours change. I'm doing some serious faffing around now. I think I was trying to parry again with the sword two-handed, and I was just failing miserably. You'll notice there's a huge damage difference if an enemy is blocking. That applies to the magic as well. Probably depends on the type of shield they're using, but if you hit the shield, you do bugger all damage. So you really have to try and stagger enemies that are using shields, or parry them, so that you can get past it. I find out a little bit later in the case of the soul arrow, if you do just keep hammering them, even the blue and red eye knights, after 2 blocked soul arrows, will generally stagger, and then the third one will do some actual damage. Okay, this is still tutorial stuff. So yeah, if you're not familiar with the Souls games, the little diamond thing in the corner, the left side is your left-hand weapon, the right side is your right weapon, the top is the current magic or miracle that you've got equipped, and the bottom one is an item, mostly healing stuff. The weed thing that you can see is a crescent moon grass, which are the healing item you use at the start of the game. Don't know if that's what you keep using, but at least for now, that's the main healing item. Crescent moon, half moon, full moon, late moon, I think, are like as it goes up in effectiveness. Catalyst is the wand, so it's only just telling me to try using the wand, and this is where I discovered magic, and it's amazing. The light, oh, just so cool. So the soul arrow is a blue magic attack, which, as I said before, when you send it through a room, you'll see the illumination on all of the surfaces. And when the enemies get hit by it, you'll see them also then give off that light. I use the soul arrow a lot. I do think it makes the start of the game quite easy. So I'm just going to play it however, I think I can deal with the game. I don't want to make it harder on myself by saying, don't use the soul arrow because it's too OP. First time playing this, I'm just going to do whatever I can. Oh, that was cool. The furnace, like you can see the light coming out of the holes at the bottom, illuminating the smoke. Oh, that's volumetric lighting, really beautiful. I was so distracted, I did not see him on the stairs. Oh yeah. The walls light up with the magic. That's me trying the melee attack. Meleeing with the catalyst, which is definitely not a wand, isn't very effective. Oh, dodgy smoke door. Oh, the noise the magic makes as it all winds up is, oh, so nice. So, after playing Bloodborne, I've learned to be terrified of all smoke doors, fog doors, whatever you want to call them, because in Bloodborne, I think they are always boss rooms, and you go in and you can't get out again. In this game, they're not always boss rooms. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. You don't know. Sometimes it just opens it and you go through and it's fine, you've just got access to a new area. Let's see what this case was. There's no jumping, which is annoying. I managed to run over that gap. I thought they might have put something there for people that managed to run over the gap. Okay, let's go through this fog door. And it was just a door. Nothing to be scared of, you can go back if you want, so that's fine. So that sort of lulled me into a false sense of security. Foreshadowing. The third-person games that do this are good. That when you get close to a wall and your character turns invisible and the camera doesn't do weird jerky shit, you can still see what's going on, and the fidelity holds up. Like, you could make this first person and it's easily detailed enough that it would still look phenomenal. That's one of the problems with first person games, is that you have to make all textures higher resolution because people get their faces closer to them, but this easily would hold up. Not that they'd put a first person mode in Demon's Souls, but I'd enjoy it. Oh, how good does this look? Oh, seeing beautiful lighting just makes me want to cry. In life and games. But at this point, I was just like, okay, this is the best lighting I've ever seen in a game. This is one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen in a game. This is like the exact type of thing I was talking about, where you can see it coming down and then reflecting off the ground and hitting surfaces. And the hitting of the surface casts other shadows. Like, you can see the side of the column that's away from the patch of light is darker than the side that's closer to it. It's just, oh, so good. The leaves look good. Specular highlights, particle effects, everything's just... Oh. I was a bit sceptical that this game is going to be as beautiful as it is, because Bloodborne, I think, is extremely beautiful. And a lot of that's down to the setting and the artistic design, so even though it's a 2015 game, I still think it really holds up. And I am going to try and play in Bloodborne on the PS5 to see how it looks. So I thought this isn't going to be as beautiful, but it so is. Oh look, a fog door. Is this going to be dodgy? Holy shit. Yes, it's a dodgy one. So I shat myself here. Did not know where to go. And did not hold up much of a fight at all. But how good did the animations on that demon look? Oh. Okay, what's the Nexus?
Soul of the lost withdrawn from its vessel. Let strength be granted so the world might be mended. Soul of the lost withdrawn from its vessel. Let strength be granted so the world might be mended. So the world might be mended. This is the Nexus. It holds together the northern land of Boletaria. Thou canst not quit the Nexus, but the 5 archstones will guide thee to the outer lands.
Okay. The Nexus looks beautiful in this game. I don't know how spectacular it was in the original Demon's Souls, but I'm just enamored by walking around this place. Ugh, God, it's just... Oh, delicious, artistic, and graphical fidelity. Just the architecture of this place is spectacular. This is so much more than a hunter's dream in Bloodborne, which is the equivalent of the place you go to when you die and you can go to different areas. I don't know enough about the lore of this, but as far as I can tell, the Nexus is, yeah, like the maiden just said, is connecting the various sort of regions of Boletaria together that I'm gonna guess, due to the fog, you can't walk between, so you have to use these things.
You slipped through the fissure too, did you? You came for demon souls? Or to save this land and be remembered as a hero? Hunting for demons? Try one of the archstones.
Oh,
Now
how
go.
good are they?
That is why you came, is it not?
That'll be the
this
most
accursed
phenomenal
Boletaria.
gravestone. Some very rich person has to commission someone to make one of those in real life as a grave. So there's some people you can chat to here. As you play through the game, you will meet a few sane people who will end up coming here, and then you can hang out and talk to them. They'll end up sat around different places. Now, the maiden said that there are 5 archstones, but there's actually 6. That one on the right there that's broken is the 6th one. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I know where it goes, but I don't know how it works as far as the game goes. But there was a message at one point when I came here that said, like, you are too weak for this area yet, or something along those lines, insinuating that you do go there, but it's currently not an option. I mean, right now it's not an option to go to any of them apart from the very first one that's in front of me, which is the Gates of Boletaria, where I was... Actually, no, I wasn't there before. Haha, I don't know where I was before, but we're going to be going to the Gates of Boletaria when I finish walking around. I'm going to skip a lot of this, but not all of it, because you just need to see this place.
You new here? Are you here for my services?
This guy can sell you overpriced things.
I'm just an ordinary blacksmith. It's simple. Just bring me all the souls you can. In trade, I'll give you weapons, or forge the ones you already have. With your souls, I can eke out a living. And with my weapons, you can go on living. Not a bad deal, eh?
So he charges way too much for everything. You do find other merchants in the game world where things are a lot cheaper. So Crescent Moongrass, 150 souls. At this point I've only got 182, so I'm like, what? That tiny healing item is so expensive. You do get way more souls from stronger enemies, of course. But yeah, the same item, Crescent Moongrass, is 100 souls at one of the other merchants that I find later on. So this guy's a bit expensive in general. I don't yet know if you can get unique things from him, or whether it's just convenient because he's in the Nexus. So I was just looking through what he's got, realising I can't afford anything. Don't know why you would take the cracked stone eye, unless you give it to someone else. The weapon upgrades don't just require souls, they also require items. At this stage I didn't have any of them. This is not really anything I could do. So to get the rapier +1 I need 2 sharp stone shards, which you do actually get in a little bit, but at that point I didn't want to upgrade it anyway.
If you haven't heard, there's another blacksmith at the entrance to Stone Fang Mine. He's an eccentric old man. He knows his trade well. He's the only sane one left in a town of soul-starved men. If you do meet him, no, forget it.
This guy talks really slowly.
We'll just chase you off. No interest, eh?
Oh, stereo imaging. I could hear him coming from the left then. That was creepy. So, the architecture of this place is an amalgamation of lots of the different religious buildings used in the real world by different cultures. So if you look around, you'll see elements of Catholic cathedrals and Islamic mosques, and I can't think of other names. There's elements of Buddhism and Shintoism, and it's just so integrated, and it looks cohesive, even though it is a mixture of lots of different types of inspirations. And the candles everywhere obviously look amazing. So I now read all of these messages. I'm probably going to fast forward this, but they are useful if you want to pause it and read them all. Okay. Hope you enjoyed all those messages. Now I just started running back and forth, realising how cool of a vista it is to walk into the main room of the Nexus from here. Look at the contrast. We can see all of the orange and reds in the foreground, and then the greens and blues in the light shafts coming from the ceiling. And oh my god, it's so cool. This is just... the artistry in pairing these tones together like they are is so... I appreciate the work. Look at the subtle golds on top of the greens. There's just a really expensive, royal feeling to it. The appraisal writing was a bit messed up. There was an update today that maybe's fixed it. Oh god, look at this light. Oh, this is so cool. This is a very like Moroccan style lighting fixture, but really intricate. But look at the fog in the air and the volumetric lighting, and you could see the rays coming out of it, and it's so nice. And the patterns it's making on the walls and the flicker to it, the way it picks up on all the textures. Oh, there's so much detail. Honestly, it makes me shiver seeing these things. It's so nice. Okay, what I didn't do at this point is go up the stairs behind this section. I was reading the names here. So the first one is the Cavasus King. This is the Digger King. Did I go along all of them? I was just looking at what's going on in the middle. Just trying to get some cool scenes here of just how beautiful this is. Getting cool looking footage though is a lot easier with first person games because you don't have your character in the way. So yeah, all of these archstones are sealed, you can't access them, apart from the first one over there. So this is clearly where you're meant to go at this stage. The Gates of Boletaria. A huge stone castle at the heart of the northern kingdom of Boletaria. Hungry soldiers attack trespassers, their souls stolen by demons, and I can't read the rest of it. But yeah, all the rest of them can't do anything with. So yeah, the Digger King, the Tower Queen, the Mysterious Broken One, the Shadow Men, and the Chieftain. There is a little bit more explanation as to who these people are and why they're significant a little bit later. But similar to in Bloodborne, you have, like in Bloodborne we had the Hunter's Dream, and there was like the little gravestones that you could access the different regions of the game, but the game was still interconnected, so you could still run between them all. You just use the gravestones as sort of a fast travel mechanism. This, I don't know if they are interconnected or not. So at this stage, it looks like they're separate regions, or like separate sections in the country, maybe, that you can't run between. Maybe you can, but I don't know. With all the talk before about the fog, it makes it sound like these various regions have been split up by the fog, so they're all sort of trapped within each other. So the first region is the Gates of Boletaria / as you go into them, you obviously go into the city itself. So maybe as you go through there, you eventually move into the next region. I honestly can't tell you at this stage, but it's exciting. Not knowing is part of the thrill of this. Like when I went into Bloodborne, I went in completely blind, and it's, I don't know if to say one of or the best gameplay experiences I've ever had, just because it was so unknown, and that's the point. And I knew that was the point, so I like, you know, didn't look anything up for ages, and I just got so lost and died a lot, of course. And through that, you discover stuff yourself. Don't know what I was doing there. You discover stuff yourself, and it's so satisfying to learn things of your own accord, and rather than just, you know, being told it by the game, rather than having a tutorial tell you exactly what's happening. So I'm relishing in that in this game. I'd rather not know what's going on, even though this is an 11-year-old game. I thankfully don't know too many details about how the world works. I'm just so glad that I get to experience this for the first time on the PlayStation 5 with this beauty. Now, you'll notice because I've died, I am now in a soul form.
You came for demon souls. We're welcome.
That wasn't interesting. So rather than having my full health, I'm limited to around half health, which is extreme. And that loud noise again. Give me a heart attack.
Stockpile Thomas.
This guy's so uncanny valley. His
I didn't know what hit me.
face is so creepy.
When I came to, I found myself here in this Nexus.
Make some serious facial expressions.
My wife and daughter fell victim to the demons. But I would be worthless in battle. At the very least, I hope to lend my assistance to you brave slayers of demons. I would be happy to lighten your load and look after any excess baggage.
So this guy's basically the storage system. I've got bugger all stuff at the moment, so I don't need his generous services. I don't know if you have to pay or anything. I'm guessing it's just a storage box that for some reason has an NPC.
When the Scourge came, I abandoned my wife and daughter
Where does he get his hair gel from?
and fled like a coward. When I came to, I was in this Nexus. I haven't dared venture outside these walls since.
Okay.
I wish I could do more.
Still going.
But I am ignorant of the world beyond these walls.
I'm trying to work out if Boletaria is meant to be Scotland, because a lot of characters have Scottish accents, and they do refer to it as the sort of cold northern country. Okay, we're off. We are heading to the gates of Boletaria. This is where you can see the pretty fast loading times of the PS5. Okay, that's all for the first part. I'm splitting this commentary-based start to the game up into 5 videos. So this is the end of the first one. The second one should be up very, very soon. After the first 5, which I think takes us through the first 4.5 hours of the game, then I'm going to try and do some live gameplay ones where I'm actually recording myself talk as I'm playing. See how it goes. It's all an experiment. If this turns out to be better quality or people find it more insightful or entertaining, of course, I'll do this again. But it's just at the moment I recorded the others while I didn't have the microphone or anything set up, so I'm doing commentary for these ones. So expect this for the next few videos. So I hope you enjoyed part 1. Tune in very soon for part 2. Take care. Bye.